Good afternoon, everybody. This is Steve Fletcher with a trumpet for my people. Today is February 5th, 2024. And earlier this morning, I shared with you about the 40 days from January 11th, taking us to February 19th. Together with this, there's a heavenly sign channel that shows starting on January 11th, the phoenix begins rising over the horizon starting on January 11th. And so I want to take a look at that, and then I also want to take a look at the conjunction of planets from January 11th leading up to this time on February 19th. There's a very interesting conjunction of planets that takes place. If we go from January 11th and watch the progression, we're going to see there's a culmination that takes place around this time. So I want to take a look at all of that. If you have not seen this video about the rapture of Philip 40 days after January 11th, in Acts chapter 8, Philip was taken away. He was carried away by God, which is the actual word harpazo. Philip was harpazoed. He was snatched away by God and taken to another location. But the word that is used for that event is harpazo, connected to the Ethiopian, which is 128. So all of this I have fully explained in my video, and why I am watching 40 days from January 11th leading to February 19th. Now let's take a look at the information about the phoenix rising starting on January 11th and the conjunction of the other planets leading up to this time. Okay, so here is this channel, Tabernacle of the Bridegroom, and he's been following the information especially leading up to January 11th. And now the phoenix rising on Hanukkah is connected to his understanding of the calendar that January 11th was Hanukkah. The phoenix rises on January 11th is the beginning of the rise of the phoenix. And this is huge because this is really what we are seeing. These end time events have a beginning, have a moment in time. January 11th was such a huge sign. Could this be the beginning of a final countdown, which is what I am anticipating that this is? Possibly a 40-day countdown to February 19th. But either way, we have to watch all of these signs. So let's take a look at this information and see what this brother is sharing. Okay, so I'm going to start this video at the 150 mark and play a little bit of it for you, and just so you can get an idea of what he is sharing about the Phoenix constellation that begins to rise over the landscape starting on January 11th.
Let's go ahead and remove the landscape, and so you can see I'm centered here on the Phoenix constellation, and I did my best to center it as good as I could. So you can see here we're looking at the Phoenix constellation, and one of the things that really stood out to me with the Phoenix constellation is it's right next to Horologium, and it is a cutoff point between Phoenix and Horologium is the river Aranidus, or Eridanus, depends on how you say it. The Eridanus River is connected to Aquarius, and it is a very, very important part of the Mazzaroth story, and I'm going to allow you to go do your research on that independently. We may come back and do more work on the Eridanus River in another video, but today we're focusing on this Phoenix constellation. And if you want to go do some research on the Eridanus River and Horologium, it's all part of the storyline that we're looking at currently. So what I noticed is, let's go ahead and bring back up the landscape, and you can see how we have the Phoenix is rising here. This is looking south, and I'm in Portland, so we're looking south from Portland, and we have the constellation centered. And what I found is that January 11th is the center. And for those of you who have seen the connection that Exalted Lamb 1 found with January 11th being the center date, Steve Fletcher and a bunch of other watchmen, the news got spread about that, and we had multiple watchmen brothers doing videos on the connection of that, and you can see how from that point we all used that center point date. If you go look at my Hanukkah and the Faithful Witness video, you'll realize that that was on my calendar the 24th day of the 9th month, which is the day before Hanukkah starts. And you can go look at Brother Dana's video, and he picked up on that and connected a bunch more dots using that calendar, and things have just been falling into place with that connection. So when I saw that, I wanted to bring that before the body. We are looking at the Phoenix constellation rising on January 11th. You can go each year, we'll go forward, and you can just see how January 11th is the center date on this constellation moving forward. It's the center date. And so we're going to come all the way back to 2024, and I pulled up the time. This is center point that I found. It may not be exact. We're not really so much concerned about that because we're not looking at a specific alignment for a point in the heavens. We're just looking at this Phoenix rising. So quickly we're going to go back and show you how on the other days this is not the case, and we'll just go ahead and start moving backwards, and you can see how the Phoenix constellation is not rising. So let's go ahead and take off so you can see now the Phoenix is down here, and we'll go ahead and move forward, and then you can see how the Phoenix begins to rise, and then it centers on the 11th, and you can see the constellation is centered on the 11th. If we move forward, then it sets into the planet, and So we move back, and we can see how this constellation is centered, and it's rising on January the 11th, which is our center date for all the eclipses and the blood moons, and there is so much that we can connect to this Phoenix rising. I'm going to do a bunch more research and see what else I could find, but I just wanted to do a quick video and bring this before the body. We are looking at the Phoenix rising on January the 11th.
Okay, so I wanted to do this on my own, and I wanted to see the way it came out for me. As we look at this, I've got this set to Jerusalem viewpoint on January 11th, and here is the Phoenix rising. If I have it set at this time of day, if I go back a little bit, it will show it going down. So if I just leave it here where it's coming over the horizon, then if I go forward from January 11th, and we're going to see the Phoenix now rising as we move later into January, leading up into the beginning of February. And we're watching February 19th. And by February 19th, we basically have the entire Phoenix constellation now over the horizon. The Phoenix has fully risen. It was a 40-day process from January 11th to around February 19th if we continue to go forward. Okay. Now it looks like it's going back. So there's just this one time during this year that this happens. It goes up for about 40 days, and then it goes back underneath the horizon, starting on around January 11th. Okay, so this is from my perspective, and so check out that channel. So check out this channel, Tabernacle of the Bridegroom, and watch for this new information. He's going to be coming out with new information on the Phoenix, how this is all connected to the rising of the Phoenix starting on January 11th. Okay, now I want to take you to January 11th, which is the new moon day. This middle day of all the eclipses was the beginning of the 11th month on the calendar that I'm watching, the beginning of the 11th month. And Mars is in the crossbow of Sagittarius. So is this the beginning of the heavenly war? Is what we are watching, Mars being in the crossbow. And following behind, we've got Venus and Mercury. So what I want to do is I want to count forward the 40 days, and we're going to see major conjunctions of all of this coming up towards the time frame I'm watching now, February 19th. So let's move forward from January 11th and take a look at where this is all going to be playing out then over the next 40 days from January 11th. This is January 27th. but it's going to get better when we move into later February. February 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th. February 19th, we have this conjunction of Mars and Venus. And if this is the war on the saints, and the war began on January 11th, and Venus represents the bride of Christ, this might be the culmination of the war on the saints in this time frame. So together with what was just shown about the Phoenix rising on starting on January 11th, and this progression leading up 40 days from January 11th to February 19th, this is something we need to remain vigilant about and watching. So please check out the video by my brother, Tabernacle of the Bridegroom, and the Phoenix Rising starting on January 11th. And also check out the video I did earlier today about the 40 days from January 11th to February 19th. I pray you are blessed. This is Steve Fletcher with a trumpet for my people, the sign of his coming revealed.